Yo, what's going on guys, Tanmay here for Simple Snippets and welcome back to another video tutorial on data structures and algorithms. And as the title of the video suggests, in this tutorial we are going to write a C++ program to convert a prefix expression to its postfix version using a stack data structure. So this is the part 2 of prefix to postfix using stack data structure, and in the previous tutorial we saw the rules as well as the pseudocode that is used to take this prefix expression and convert it into a postfix version. And if you've missed that, please do check that out because that's where we discuss the entire pseudocode, entire working. This video is just the implementation side, that is the practical programming side, which is also important, where we take that pseudocode and convert it into proper C++ code. So if you're just here for the implementation, for the practical side, do watch this video till the end. You can see the pseudocode on the right hand side that we've discussed in the previous tutorial, and I'm obviously going to be sharing this entire code with you on our official website, so you can check the video description for the link. But if you are new, if you're a beginner, I would highly request you guys to type this program along with me for the best practice at least once. And without further ado, let's get started. If you're new to my channel, my name is Tanmay Sakpal and I do a lot of computer science and information technology video tutorials like computer programming, development, technology talks, and a lot more on this channel. So if that's something you're interested into, then definitely subscribe and turn on the notifications to get the latest updates and never miss out on such important topics. So as you can see on the screen, I've already opened up my DSA ID and I've typed a little bit of code which I'll explain to you. So in the int main, now before I explain to you, if you see the pseudocode on the right hand side, you can use any other general purpose programming language and take this same pseudocode and convert it into your particular choice of programming language, be it Java, be it Python, JavaScript, any general purpose programming language would do. We are going ahead with C++, but don't let the language be a barrier. If you know any other programming language, you're good to go. And coming to the int main function of our C++ program, we create two strings, string prefix and string postfix. This is the C++ string class, and we've discussed what is C style strings and C++ style strings separately in another video tutorial. Do check that out if you don't know what the difference is. Anyways, moving forward, we ask the user to enter the prefix expression. We take the prefix string from the user. We print that prefix expression, prefix string at this line. Then we say postfix is equal to prefix to postfix. This is a user defined function which we will create in a minute. And we pass this prefix string. This function will take this prefix string as an argument, as a parameter. And obviously we'll have all the set of pseudocode instructions in this user defined function, and ultimately it will return a string which is going to be a postfix string, and that will be stored in this postfix string variable. And lastly then we will simply print out this postfix expression saying postfix and this postfix string. Okay, so this is basically just the code for the main function, but the real code actually goes inside this prefix to postfix user defined function. So let's quickly create that. It will obviously have a return type of string because it will return the postfix string, and it will take a prefix string as argument. So that's what we are passing. Okay, so this is how the function prototype will look. Now inside this, obviously we will follow the pseudocode steps. So you can see the pseudocode on the right hand side. The very first thing is to create a stack. Now we are going to use the stack which is provided by the standard template library directly into our program, because our program deals with the conversion of prefix to postfix and not how a stack works. We've already discussed how a stack data structure works, and we also implemented our very own stack in previous tutorials of this DSA course, so you can check that out. But here the goal is to study the working of prefix to postfix. So for that, you can see on the top I have said hash include stack, which includes that stack from the standard template library. And standard template library, also known as STL, is nothing but a library which is provided by C++, which has some basic and standard data structures like stack, queue, linked list, and all the functions which are associated with them, all the standard functions which we can directly use into our code. Okay, so the very first step in the pseudocode is to create that stack. Programmatically, this is how the first step would look like. We will say stack, then we will say angular brackets, which has the data type of the type of data this stack is gonna store. Now this stack S is gonna store string data type. So string is this C++ style string. Obviously it is gonna store strings inside it and not characters and not integers, right? So that's what we have to pass in this angular brackets. So this angular brackets is the template style syntax. And I hope you know what is class templates, what is function templates in C++. If not, I have separate tutorials in the C++ programming course. I'll drop the link in the video description. You can see a card on the top right corner. But if you're using any other programming language, obviously the syntax will be different for creating your custom stack. For C++, this is how we are going to create our stack. The second instruction in the pseudocode is obviously the for loop. So we will say for int I equals to prefix.length minus 1. So this prefix string is what we are passing in the argument, right? In the prefix to postfix. So we will take this and we will say dot length. Now because this is an object of string class, it has some inbuilt functions, inbuilt member functions, and one of them is length, which gives the length of the prefix string, and we will say minus 1 because obviously the index position of this will start from 0 till the length minus 1, right? So that's why prefix.length minus 1. Then we will say I greater than equal to 0 and I minus minus. That is because we have to go from the end character of the prefix string to the start in reverse order. Now inside this for loop we have two conditions which you can see in the pseudocode is 2.1 and 2.2. 2.1 is for if prefix of I, that is the character that we are currently scanning in the prefix string, if it is an operand, and 2.2 is for if it is an operator. Now we have only two conditions because in a prefix string, in a prefix expression, we can either have operands or we can have operators. We do not have brackets. So if we have an operand, then it is not going to be an operator and vice versa. So how do you determine whether the character that we are scanning is an operand? For that we will write a special user defined function. Let me just show it to you. And we will call it isOperand, and it will have a return type of bool that is either true or false. It will return either true or false. So what this isOperand function will do, it will take the character and it will check if this character falls in the range of small caps A to small caps Z or Z. So that's what this condition says. Then we have an or in between, or it can fall between capital caps A to capital caps Z. Now this condition you can give because the ASCII values of A to Z in small caps are consecutive, as well as the ASCII values of A to Z in capital caps is also consecutive. That's how you can check if the character lies in A to Z in small caps or the character lies in A to Z in capital caps. And if it does, then we will say return true because then it will be an operand. That's why the name is operand and has a return type of bool. And in the else part, obviously we will say return false, because if this character C does not fall in A to Z in small caps or A to Z in large caps, it must be an operator, right? It must be plus, minus or some other character. So in that case we will say return false. So in 2.1 we are using if it is an operand, right? So programmatically we will say if is operand and we will say prefix of I, that is the current character that we are at in the prefix string. So if is operand prefix of I, in that case 2.1.1 says we have to push it onto the stack. So how do you programmatically push this prefix of I, which is a character, onto the stack? The way you do it is in two steps. We create a string object OP, which stands for operand. Then we call its constructor. We will say prefix of I, which is the character. We will make one copy of it and store it in this OP string, and then we will say s.pushOp. So why do we require this two steps? And this is only particular for C++ programming. It might be different. The syntax of pushing that character onto the stack might be different in any other general purpose programming language. But if you observe, prefix of I is going to be a character data type char. So you cannot directly say string OP equals to prefix of I. This is not a valid syntax. This will give you an error because OP is of type string, which is a class. Prefix of I is going to be a character data type of type char. So there is a mismatch. So we want to convert this character data type prefix of I to a string type. And this line of code exactly does that. What it does, it takes this character prefix of I, it makes one copy of it and converts it to string type and stores it in this OP object of string class. Okay. So this is the parameterized constructor provided for this string class. So that's how you take a character, make one copy of it. So this one denotes how many copies of this character you want in this string, and then you store it in this character. And then you can simply say s.pushOp. Now this is possible because remember our stack is of string type, so it will only store string, it will not store character type elements. So that's why we had to convert it into string type. So let me erase this out, this is not valid. But yeah, pushing the prefix of I character onto the stack is a two-step process over here. Okay, even though it looks like one single step in the pseudocode is not exactly the program code. Okay, it's language agnostic, which means that it is not a proper syntax. So every programming language will have little different syntax, but the logic is obviously gonna be the same. Now in the else part, that is in step number 2.2, if it is not an operand, it is obviously gonna be an operator. So we don't have to write else if and check if it is an operator. Obviously if it is not an operand, it is gonna be an operator only. So directly else will also work. So inside this we have 6 steps, 2.2.1 to 2.2.6. Let's write those quickly. So I have written those steps. In pseudocode, step number 2.2.1 says create op1 and say top of the stack. So this is how you do that. Then you pop that out at 2.2.2, so s.pop. Then create string op2, that is operand 2, again s.top, and then you pop it out. Now step number 2.2.5 and 2.2.6 can be combined in one single step in the code. You create this exp op1 plus op2 plus prefix of I, and then you directly push it onto the stack in single step. You could have done this also, saying string exp equals to create this postfix string and then push exp over here. But in order to avoid that one extra step and one extra string variable, we can avoid that and directly push op1 plus op2 plus prefix of I onto the stack by saying s.push and writing that expression over here. Okay, now after this the for loop pretty much ends, that is 2.2 is also done. At the end we have to say return s.top, because obviously our prefix to postfix has a return type of string. It will return some string, right? It will return the postfix string, and that postfix string will be at the top of the stack after this entire for loop is done. We've discussed how this happens in the working, you can go check that out. And that pretty much concludes our prefix to postfix function, custom function which will take a prefix string and convert it to postfix format. Let's save this. In the int main we've already typed all the required code. Let's go to execute, compile and run, and let's see if this works. Okay, it ran without any error. Hopefully we will get a proper postfix expression. I'm gonna type a prefix expression. We will say plus AB. Let's give a simple prefix expression. The postfix version of this should be AB plus, right? So let's hit enter, and there you go. You can see our code is working fine. The postfix expression we got is AB plus. Alright, just to cross check, let's again go to execute, compile and run. And let's give our complex prefix expression that we solved in the previous tutorial. This was that entire prefix expression. Let's see we get the proper postfix answer or not. Hit enter, and there you go. This is the exact postfix expression for this prefix expression. You can cross check it by manually converting the prefix to postfix. You can cross check it by checking the previous tutorial. The answer is proper and our code is working perfectly fine. Okay, so this was the practical implementation of prefix to postfix conversion using stack data structure. We wrote a C++ program, and if you've understood this, please give this video a like. Let me know in the comments how this video was. Do share it with your friends. And this is where I wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.